Shri Guru Charitra, Chapter 19. Gurunath's Grace on the Yogini Ganas. This chapter describes the Audambar Vriksha Mahima. It also narrates about the special worship which was being done by the Yogini Ganas to Gurunath every day. Gurunath shows Prayaga, Kashi, and Gaya to Ganganuja and makes him complete the whole pilgrimage within just a single day. Sri Narsimha Saraswati later announces that he was leaving from there. He comforts the Yogini Ganas that he would continue to be present there only in his subtle form, grace body, and will be answering the prayers of all his devotees. Namdharak asked Siddhamuni why Sri Narsimha Saraswati was always more fond of the Audambar tree and why it was so significant. Siddhamuni explained as follows. Due to the curse of sage Durvasa, Lord Vishnu had to take 10 incarnations on the earth. The curse was, of course, a boon to the world. When Lord Vishnu manifested himself as Narsimha in Narsimha Avatara to protect Prahlada and for destroying Hiranyakashipa, he had to make use of his nails to kill him. He tore open the belly of Hiranyakashipa with his claws. In the stomach of Hiranyakashipa there was the Kalakuta poison. The nails of Narsimha were drenched with the poison. When he tore the stomach and entrails of the demon. As a result, Narsimha's nails were seething with great heat and pain. Goddess Lakshmi, seeing the suffering of her lord, plucked some fruits of the Audambar tree which she happened to find nearby. The lord stuck his nails into the fruit deep into its pulp. The lord's pain was assuaged instantly by this. The lord was immensely pleased and blessed the Audambar tree, and said, it would from then onwards be as powerful on earth as the Kalpavriksha in the heavens. He said that whosoever would worship the Audambar tree would get all desires and wishes fulfilled. Thus, the Audambar tree had become a wish-fulfilling tree from very ancient times. Sri Narsimha Saraswati wanted to make it holier. Therefore, he chose to be always seated under the Audambar tree. Seated under it, apart from granting the fulfillment of the worldly desires of his devotees, he used to shower spiritual grace and uplift them spiritually. Thus, the Audambar tree had come to acquire heightened spiritual powers too. As already said earlier, near Amareshwar on the bank of river Krishna, there was a Shakti Tirtha wherein lived many yoginis, numbering about 64. Every day by noon, they all used to come to the Audambar tree to worship Sri Narsimha Saraswati and then return to their place unseen by any. Some people were curious to know all about Sri Narsimha Saraswati as to what he ate, how he got his food, what he did, and who all came to him, etc. One by name Ganganuja, a poor farmer, was asked to keep a secret watch upon Sri Narsimha Saraswati and find out the facts. Ganganuja was a very guileless, simple-hearted and devout person. As Ganganuja was watching clandestinely, to his amazement he saw the yoginis coming and offering worship and doing arati to Gurunath. He also saw that after the arati, Sri Narsimha Saraswati and the yoginis stepped down into the river. Lo, the waters of the river started receding, making a pathway for Sri Narsimha Saraswati and the yoginis to walk along. Ganganuja also followed them surreptitiously. As they reached the middle of the stream bed, Ganganuja, following behind, saw them entering into a golden splendored city. The residents of the city, men and women, looking like angels and gods, dressed in silken and shining garments, welcomed Gurunath with Mangalarati. Sri Narsimha Saraswati, looking back towards Ganganuja, asked him why he followed them. Ganganuja fell at Gurunath's feet and prayed to be forgiven. Sri Narsimha Saraswati told him he should not reveal to anybody what he had seen. Goddess Lakshmi also favoured him and he was relieved of his drudgerous life. He used to come for Gurunath's darshan every morning, afternoon and evening and serve him for most part of the day with great love. As it was going on thus, on one Magha Purnima, early morning, Ganganuja was serving Gurunath and said, Gurudeva, it is said that in the month of Magha, a bath at the holy Triveni Sangam at Prayaga is most meritorious. I heard only but know nothing of Prayag and Kashi, etc. Gurunath then said to Ganganuja, this Panchaganga Sangam here is as holy as a Prayaga and Kolhapur is as meritorious as Gaya. In and around here also exists Kasi. All the merits of Kasi, Gaya and Prayaga can be found and gained here itself. Nevertheless, as you seem to be very desirous of seeing northern Kasi, etc., I will show them to you today itself. Gurunath stood up on the tiger skin on which he was seated. He told Ganganuja to catch his feet and padukas firmly. Instantly they were at Prayaga. After taking bath there in the morning, by afternoon they were at Kasi. After bathing in the holy Ganges and having Lord Vishweshwara's darshan, by evening they were at Gaya. By sunset, they were back at Amrapur. Sri Narasimha Saraswati stayed under the Audambar tree at the Panchaganga Kshetra for quite some time, 12 years. Now he decided to leave from there. Everyone was sorrowful and unhappy that Gurunath would be leaving from there, much more so were the yoginis. Sri Narasimha Saraswati comforted them and said, I am leaving my padukas here. I will be ever present where my padukas are worshipped. Whatever wishes be prayed for, by offering worship to the padukas, they will be granted and fulfilled. Sri Narasimha Saraswati, comforting them all, moved out from that place in the direction of Gangapur, which is in the vicinity of the holy rivers Bhima and Amaraja. Even after Gurunath left for Gangapur, the Audambar tree and Guru Padukas enshrined there continue to manifest Gurunath's power and grace in the same manner as when he used to physically live there. Thus ends the 19th chapter of Sri Guru Charitra, describing the holy significance of the Audambar tree, the special grace which Gurunath showered on the Yogini Ganas, and also of Ganganuja's Kasi Yatra. Glory to the all-merciful, the omnipresent, and the ever-responsive Gurunath.